Loser says what?
I'm gonna punch you in the dick.
What?
Hello and welcome to NerdChat. This is NerdChat Explains. I'm Rick.
I'm Josh.
And we are going to do Star Wars Infinities Return of the Jedi Part 1.
So this is the last of our Infinities, right?
This is the last of the Infinity series, which covers the original trilogy of movies.
But weirdly, not the rest of the book that we bought.
No. There is another storyline in that book, and that will be the next one we cover.
Yeah, it's going to take a lot. Go on.
So for those of you that are unfamiliar, the Infinities storylines are the movies that have a single insignificant link altered.
So everything is the same up until one point, and something changes.
One particular point.
Yeah.
So like with New Hope, it was when Luke failed to blow up the Death Star.
Yeah.
So things like that. Just a small...
And these are not continuations of the other ones that we've done.
No,
Each
they are
one of these
entirely
is a
separate.
contained story. So
Yeah. So for Return of the Jedi, we pick up near the beginning of the movie with Leia and Lando undercover in Jabba's palace trying to sell Chewbacca.
Okay.
Now, the altered event is not as grand in this one as it is in, say, New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, because in New Hope, Luke fails to blow up the Death Star. In Empire Strikes Back, Luke dies.
Mm-hmm.
So, but in this one, the turning point is that when Leia says to Jabba, and 50,000 no less, Jabba has a tantrum and knocks over C-3PO, which breaks C-3PO. So now there's no translator.
Oh my god.
So then
That's all it takes to fuck up the whole timeline.
that's all it takes to fuck up the whole timeline.
At least the other ones were major events. Luke dying or failing to blow up the Death Star. This one you just knock over the comedic relief and the whole thing goes to shit.
Well, so what happens is C-3PO's broken, and without C-3PO to translate, Leia's alien language, Jabba is just like, like making fat ass hut noises.
Yeah.
And Leia's like trying to talk, but there's nobody else to translate. So in order for like Leia to communicate, as for Jabba's like starting to freak out and get all mad and shit, she has to like speak basic. Mm-hmm. And so she like takes off her helmet to speak basic and be like, look, we're doing this thing. And Jabba's like, oh, it's Princess Leia. So her cover's fucking blown.
Yeah.
And, he's like, we'll just capture her and we'll sell her off to the Empire or whatever. She still pulls out the thermal detonator, though, and she's like, do it, Jabba. Let's have some fun with this. And Boba Fett's off behind her, and he pulls out his blaster.
Yeah.
And, so all of Jabba's guys, start to get ready for the fight, but Lando smacks the blaster, and instead of, killing Leia, it strikes her in the shoulder.
Okay.
But it's only, a glancing blow. So she's like, okay. And then this big fight breaks out with, Lando and Leia, killing a bunch of goons, and Jabba's, fat ass is slinking off down the hallway. But Boba Fett's just well, I guess Han's no value to Jabba anymore, but he's valuable to me. So he takes Han off the wall and just books it. So Leia and Lando are like, get Boba Fett. And so her and so Leia, Lando, and Chewbacca, I forgot because Chewbacca was there and he's fighting, and they're chasing down Boba Fett. But because Leia's arm was struck, her aim isn't perfect. So they're shooting at Boba, and one of her shots strikes the control panel on the carbonite prison for Han Solo. So, and during that scene, it says that one of her shots strikes with fateful consequences, and all of the other shots simply miss. And all the shots are going going Boba Fett, not hitting shit. And Chewie's behind, so he can't take the shot. And they end up Boba gets to the Slave One, but they're all we're out of time, we gotta go. And then Jabba's palace, somebody shows up behind Jabba, and they don't show you who.
Okay.
But somebody shows up behind Jabba, and Jabba turns and he's like, oh no. And then his palace just fucking explodes. Like, it's just gone.
Okay.
And Lando and Leia are, like, outside, like, barely with Chewie, and the Slave One just rockets out of the smoke.
Okay.
So Boba gets away with Han in the carbonite prison. And, Leia and Lando and Chewie are like, well, shit, like, what do we do now? And Leia's like, well, we can't go get C-3PO because he's broken and gone now. So I guess let's go get Luke.
Mm-hmm.
Because Luke's out in the desert waiting to see if he's, needed for the plan or whatever.
Yeah.
So then, in order to go get Luke, they're like, well, we need a vehicle to get out there, and the only vehicle nearby is the sail barge.
Okay.
So they go to the sail barge, and R2-D2's on the sail barge, and they're, like, talking to this Rodian who is, like, on it, and they're like, no, Jabba's coming, he's fine, we gotta get this ready to go, or Jabba's gonna be pissed. And the Rodian's like, I don't know. And this Rodian looks like a suspicious amount like Greedo, like way too much like Greedo to be a coincidence. And R2-D2 just walks up and like electrocutes the shit out of him, and he falls off the sail barge.
All right.
Just like plummets off the edge. And I was like, damn, R2, that was cold-blooded. Like, he's not even a robot. You just killed that guy. And so...
R2 don't give no fuck.
R2 don't give a damn.
He's seen war, man.
R2 has seen some shit. So the four of them take the sail barge and they like head off into the desert to go pick up Luke. And they're talking and they're explaining the situation to Luke, and Luke's like, well, I guess we're just going to have to continue our search. I guess, I have to get back to Dagobah and you have to get back to the rebellion. But I think they can hold for a little while longer while we go find Han. So, at that point, we flash away to the Emperor on the new Death Star. Now, he's arriving just like in the movie. It's the same setup and everything. But the Emperor...
their side's changed yet, right?
Well, exactly. So, like, nothing to do with them has changed, but the Emperor's talking to Vader as they're walking through the troops, and he's like, I need you to stay close to me, apprentice. Events are not unfolding the way I have predicted. So he knows that something's up. That something has changed, but he's not sure what. And then we flash to Dagobah, and Yoda's on his deathbed, because at this point in the movie, Yoda's like, he doesn't have much time left, and he's talking to Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan's just like, I have no idea what could be holding him up. Like, he's supposed to be here, and Yoda's like, hopefully, he will get here soon, because I don't have much time left.
Yeah.
So then we get back to Luke and Leia, and they're like, okay, so we'll split up. I'll go check out some of the seedier locations here on like Mos Eisley, and you guys can go check out like some other smugglers' dens and things like that. And they're gonna go see if they can find Boba Fett's location, because it's easier to look for Boba Fett than it is to be like, yo, this Han Solo is frozen in carbonite.
Yeah.
So they're just like, all right, we'll go find Boba Fett. And then they split up, and we see them going to their different locations, and Luke's gone to like 2 different bars. There's like a little bit of a time skip. And he's at the 3rd one now, and he's just sitting people down, and he's just like, where is Boba Fett? There's like a line of people, and he's just like, where is Boba Fett? And the guy's like, I don't know where Boba Fett is. He's like, you can go. I can go. And he just like walks away. The next guy, he's just like, they're like all like force wiped, and he's like, where's Boba Fett? I don't know. You can go.
I can go.
And like these 3 guys show up, and they're like, hey, you. They're like, we're gonna fuck you up. You're messing with our friends' heads, and there's a bounty on you from the Empire. So they all like, they go to like punch him and stuff, like they start a bar fight, and one guy reaches for his gun after Luke like punches the shit out of him, and Luke goes, oh, a blaster, and turns on his lightsaber, and the guy's like, no, I just had an itch, I'm done. So and then he calls Leia, and he's like, yo, Leia, how is your guys' search going? And it flashes to Leia because he can only see her face. And Leia's like, fine. And behind her, you just see Chewbacca with like a Gamorrean above his head. And he's like, "Argh!" He's like beating other dudes like with the Gamorrean. And she's like, okay, but we haven't found any information yet.
Good.
Oh yeah, it's beautiful. But then we go back to Dagobah.
Yeah.
And Yoda passes.
Okay.
Without Luke ever returning. And he's there, like, with... Like, Obi-Wan's there as a Force ghost. So, I mean, Yoda's not like, oh, no, I'm gonna die. He's just like, hang on, I'll be a ghost with you in a second.
Yeah.
But they're, like, talking. They're like, what the hell is Luke doing? Like, he's supposed to be here. He needs to stop dicking around and do his thing. And then the very last page... is Palpatine sitting on his throne in the Death Star, and there's no dialogue until the very last panel, but it's just him, like, sitting there and searching the stars, and in the second to last panel, he makes a face like, the hell was that? And then he says, Master Yoda. So he can sense that Yoda's passed.
Yeah.
And that is the end of issue number 1.
Okay.
So then issue number 2 starts up. And Palpatine sends Vader to Dagobah. And Vader's like, why? And he's like, shut up, bitch. Go to Dagobah. It's because I told you. Like, just do it. And Vader's like, but why? And he's like, because I told you to. Now go away. And he's like, you just told me to stay here. And now I'm telling you to go away.
You want me to stay close? Do you want me to go and do it?
And Vader's like...
to a degrading swamp planet.
Vader's like, okay, I will. And then Palpatine proceeds to be like... yeah, so, you like, I've said stuff. So it's just like, I'm sending you there, but still with zero explanation. Like, no reasoning whatsoever. It's douche. Like, 100% douche.
Just go to Dagobah. Do what? Just go to Dagobah. Go to Dagobah.
So then, we go to some forest world that they don't actually name. So we don't know which one it is, but there's a bar there. And Leia, Landa, and Chewie are there, and they've tracked down a guy who has information about a meeting between some Imperial officers and Boba Fett.
Okay.
And, like, they kind of corner him, and after a few threats, the guy's like, he's like, I can't give you information on Boba Fett, he's gonna kill me. And Leia's like, yeah, but we have a Wookiee here and now. And he's like, that's true.
See your point.
So they eventually get the information, and my favorite part is when they're walking away, and Leia's like, but what about him? Shouldn't we do something about that? And Lando's like, no, he's not going to tell anybody he gave us information, because if he does, he's dead. He's not going to say a damn word.
There's some solid logic, Lando.
He's like, he does not want to get on the bad side of Boba Fett. So then we go to Luke, who is on Dagobah. There's a lot of bouncing back and forth between like Leia and Luke in this. So Luke goes to Dagobah. Like, after he feels that Yoda's passed, he's like, Leia, I can't keep searching right now. I have to go to Dagobah, like, right now. And he's talking to the Force ghosts of Yoda and Obi-Wan. And they're talking about how, yes, his training's complete, and he's learned so much over his time, but he's not a Jedi yet. He still has to confront Vader, just like the movie, except that at this point Yoda's passed.
Yeah.
They talk about the other stuff, like confirming that Vader is his father, that Leia's his sister. So a lot of the stuff similar to the movie. There's no real crazy like revelations or changes in this scene, other than the fact that Yoda's a Force ghost.
Yeah. He's just like, dude, the fuck with that.
He's like, where the hell were you? And he's like, I was looking for Han Solo.
So Luke's like, what the fuck? You're fine.
Why do you even care?
Why did you have to wait to die to begin with?
It's almost like at some point in the future, you're just going to get stronger and be able to shoot lightning out of your ghost hands.
Page turners. They were not.
Yoda, I am bullshit. I spew.
Go on.
But yeah, you know, they tell him he's got to confront Vader still. And then we flash back to Yoda. Or, not Yoda, Leia. I don't know how I got those two mixed up, but, you know.
They're practically the same.
But Leia's sitting in a tree with a sniper rifle, like a big caliber sniper rifle.
Okay.
And she's watching through the scope the Imperials standing on this thing, and Boba Fett's standing there as well. They're like talking, and Boba Fett's trying to like sell them the body of Han Solo to be used as bait. Mm-hmm. Like the Imperials are like, why the hell would we want that? And he's like, you use it as bait for Princess Leia and like the other rebellion leaders who would want him.
Yeah.
Now at this point they don't say whether or not Han's dead or not.
Okay.
But he does say that I have the body of Han Solo frozen in carbonite. Mm-hmm. So there's no confirmation yet on whether or not Han's still alive. But Leia's talking to Lando over the headset, and you don't know where Lando and Chewie are. And she's like, why does Han even have a gun like this? Because it's this crazy long range, like high caliber weapon.
Okay.
And they even talk about how this thing could like put down an AT-ST. And Lando's just like, well, you know, Han was a hell of a smuggler and he was prepared for pretty much anything. I'm like, that's not enough explanation for that weapon. Like, that thing's insane. So, the Imperials eventually agree to buy Han. And so, as soon as they have that confirmation, Leia just opens fire. Like, as soon as they have the confirmation that Han's on the Slave One, she starts firing with the blaster. And then Lando and Chewie start coming in. You find out that they were just waiting in the wings in the Falcon.
Okay.
But in the initial chaos of the blast, Fett disappears. They're like, oh shit, where the hell is Boba Fett? And like Leia like takes out the Imperial like ships and stuff, so the officers are like stranded on the platform. And she looks, and Boba Fett is on the back of the Falcon planting detonator packs on the engines. And Leia's just like, nope. She starts shooting at Boba Fett. And Fett, like, doesn't expect to be spotted. He's like, looks like, makes direct eye contact with Leia, and he's like, oh shit. And he, like, rockets off. But he still has the jetpack. So he's like, and it blows up while he's flying away, knocks his ass out of the air, and he like slams into a tree. And it's just chaotic. So Leia saves the Falcon, and Fett is just unconscious on the ground. Like, he's just like, they're like, is he dead? And Chewie's like fucking kicking him. They're like, I can't tell. His armor's in the way. So they're like, well, we have to go. And Leia gets in the Slave One, like, I'll take this, you guys take the Falcon. And as they're, like, running past the ship to go to the Falcon, Leia's like, I can't start it. And Chewie just grabs the unconscious Fett, who he's carrying anyway, and just chucks him into the Slave One. Just chucks him through the loading gate, and Leia's like, oh, the override's in his armor. He's just like, he's the key. It's just so unceremonious to my favorite character. It's so dumb. And then, so they fly away. Like they escape before the landing platform blows up, but they don't take the Imperial officers. So those guys like dove for cover, and they just leave them there on the platform that's like now on fire and blowing up.
Cool. I'll have some explaining to do.
They're gonna be in deep shit.
Oh yeah.
And then we get the last two pages, which are Luke leaving Dagobah, and he's talking about how he needs to record a message to send to the rebellion, in case something happens to him.
Okay.
And as he starts to talk about this message, as he's leaving Dagobah, a super Star Destroyer comes out of hyperspace, like, right in front of him. And he's like, R2, I need you to record a different message. Because he is immediately grabbed by a tractor beam. And he's like, R2, I need you to do a different one. And he gets taken aboard and put in a cell or whatever. And Vader comes to him on the last page, and he's talking to him. He's like, you should join me, and together we can overthrow the Emperor and rule the galaxy. Mm-hmm. And looks like that's not going to happen. I'm not going to do that. And Vader's like, well, you should, and you need to make that choice before we get to the new Death Star, because once we get there, you're in the Emperor's hands, and it's no longer in mine. And that's where the second issue ends.
Okay. Well, that's fucking crazy.
All because Jabba's flabby ass arms broke C-3PO.
Yeah, that's a really stupid way to start. I mean, it makes sense. It adds up. I like it.
So that is issues number 1 and 2.
Okay.
So we're at the halfway point of the series.
All right. Cool. So we'll pick it up in a part 2. And,
yeah, we'll do a part 2, which will just be issues 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, all right. I look forward to that.
It's gonna be cool.
The rest of our fans do too. 'Cause that is awesome.
I love how something so little and dumb just sends that shit off the rails.
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Well, yeah. So we'll have the other part out. Honestly, just when it gets done.
Soon.
I can't make promises on time.
Soon, with a question mark.
We're
A
trying
very
to put
strong
out-
question mark.
Just assume that we're trying to put out as many videos as we can.
It's just hard.
And when they happen, man. So what else we have is, we got the other Dark Knights metal stuff, and the other Star Wars video we're going to do, I don't know when this is going to come out. So maybe our Rogue, or our Last Jedi review will be out. And the other one we're going to do is the last story in this book, which is it's just called Star Wars.
It is the original storyline written by George Lucas.
It is based off of George Lucas's original screenplay. And it's going to be long, guys. I'm not going to lie. There's so much explanation I need to make to get through it.
That's going to be a long video, because there's really no breaks in it either.
No.
It's like a movie in comic form.
Yeah, I'm going to have to take that one issue by issue. It's going to be long.
Does that one even have issues?
I'm going to have to break it up. And it might be by issues if it has issues. I only own the completed version of it and then the digital completed version of it, so I don't know. But yeah, it's going to need to be broken up. It's a hefty book. But yeah, that's where we're at. All right, taking enough of your time. Thank you for joining us.
Thanks for joining us. We hope you enjoyed it. And if you guys have any suggestions for storylines you'd like to see us do, go ahead and leave it in the comments, and we will take those to heart.
All right. Peace.